We'll go ahead and start with Damon Calhoun.
Hey, Greg. Just your where are your emotions at there? You're 84, 85 minutes. It's looking like maybe you guys are going into overtime there, and then you get the goal to win there. Where are your emotions at from that moment to the goal score?
I think going into this game, personally, I knew it was going to had the real potential to be a game like this where it wasn't going to be a ton of chances. It was going to be difficult to break them down. We had to stay steady in the defensive side, manage transitions, find the right rhythm in the game. I felt in the second half we were rushing sometimes, and that means a lot of work in the transition and defending. And so I was trying more than anything to get us to find the right tempo and allow ourselves to kind of set up so that we could stay in control of the game and not be kind of end-to-end or having to drop and defend low so often. So for me, I was focused more on just in the moments trying to get the right messages across and trying to get guys, on the thinking the same thing. Because sometimes in these games you feel like you have to go get the goal right away, and this is the play. And so I feel like when we got the goal was a huge sigh of relief, but also it switches your mentality immediately now, because now you're protecting a goal and it's thinking through all the potential changes, personnel, shape, anything that you've got to do now to see the game out, because now your objective has just shifted from staying in control of the game and working to make sure you're the only one that gets a chance to win this thing and finish it off in regulation, and managing things on the other side. So I'm super excited for these guys to be able to lift a trophy tonight, but the objective is still 1 week away, and that's where my emotions are, And so I stay kind of focused on that, because as one game ends, the anxiety for the next game already emerges, right? So that's where I'm at.
Great, congratulations on the win. To follow up on Damian's question, the longer it went on, it seemed like the more that played into Seattle's hands. They play a lot of games like this. They went to penalty kicks twice in this playoff, extra time the other game. Did you get more and more concerned as the game went on? And the second question is, you've been on these journeys before. This is not your first MLS Cup. How different has this journey been, and how does it stack up to the others?
Yeah, I mean, to start is, they're a team that is very, very stingy, and a really good team, and a hard-fighting team, and a very good defensive team, and really committed to that cause. And obviously, they know how to play in possession as well. And so, as the game progressed and it wasn't breaking for us, I was just again focused on us trying to remain patient and to make sure that we were as much defending with the ball as we were trying to break them down and catch them on an action, or find the right moment to transition and catch them on an action. So for me, I don't get too caught up in the big picture when the game's going. I'm trying to stay focused on what the game needs in a moment and how to make sure that messaging is getting across. And for me, it was trying at times to get us to slow down a little bit, set our numbers in the right spots, and see if we could create a chance without exposing ourselves the other way. So, but they're used to these games. Like you said, a 1-0 game is a lot of weeks for them. And so for us, especially in this event, in this tournament, we've had a lot of games that have really opened up, and the scores have been big, and we haven't had to play down to the last minute in the same exact way. So I was proud of the guys for staying locked in and seeing out plays, defending our box, defending our goal in the necessary times where it was 0-0, and then seeing out the game. So, but this is how the playoffs can be. I think it was wonderful that we had 3 games like we did before, but this is typically a little bit more what the playoffs would look like in general. And so the question was, and not from me, but I think in general was, can you win a 1-0 game if you need to in the playoffs? And we certainly did, and we dealt with set pieces, and we dealt with a lot of other things, and we proved tonight that we can be that team that can go through stretches of defending and still get you in a 1-0. So I'm proud of these guys. As far as this year reminds me, it's a combination of kind of our 2016 and 2017 run, because in 2016, in the early rounds, we scored a lot of goals, and got ourselves into, what ended up being a lot of goals and got ourselves to the finals, where in 2017 we had a really good team and a high scoring team in Toronto, and it was a defensive effort that got us all the way to the final game. And so no two roads to this point are ever exactly the same, and this group has created their own path and done what they needed to do to get there, and now it's going to be about refocusing our attention and energies on the Red Bulls. And I will say that it's intriguing to me that probably the two most aggressive teams in some way, shape, or form in the West and the East, them on the defensive side, us on the attacking side, have found ourselves into the finals in what tends to be a dogged, defensive, hard-fought playoffs is usually what you get out of that. So it's interesting. It's an interesting matchup because they're not going to sit on the top of their 18 and wait for us. They're going to come after us, and it's going to be a different challenge for us.
Thank you.
Hey, Greg. I thought Seattle was fantastic, and I want to get your thoughts on some of the details of the two stacked lines right on top of their box, and then the way that they position themselves to deal with the runs that Ricky makes.
Yeah, they're very, very good and well schooled on the defensive side, well organized. They really never let anybody get isolated in too many one-on-one situations. They're providing cover, and they're running through with guys that are running through. They're clogging up channels a lot of times, and so sometimes it feels like for our guys, I think it felt like, man, there's no space to run through, and then we would stop our runs when we needed to continue our runs. But they do a great job of, between the two pivots who are machines, and really helping to protect the center backs, but also they provide inside cover for the fullbacks sometimes. And then I think the work of the wingers, in addition, in terms of helping their fullbacks at the right times, was there. So they never just. It was hard for us to try to stack numbers in certain areas of the field because their proximity was there, their movement is very good, and again, they get into good covering positions for one another, and it makes it difficult to break them down. And then when you do, they do a good job of protecting the goal, whether it's the two center backs or whomever. They get good numbers right in front of Fry, and they do a good job of protecting the face of the goal. So it's hard to get clean looks, and it almost has to be in a play that's in transition where it's a little more open, and as such, we get the ball where Dejan plays inside, and he continues his run, and you find them just a little stretched out, and that's not a situation they wanted to be in, but we were able to find our moment. But again, they're really well organized, and they did a good job also in the possession moments of, for them shortening the defensive load by being very good in possession and pulling us apart in certain ways that way as well.
Greg, congratulations on the win. Maybe you guys didn't get out of this one unscathed, though. Marco came off at halftime. I wanted to know if you had an update on him. And then Ricky seemed to be limping afterwards and had to be pulled back out of the locker room for the trophy celebration. Is there some concern that those guys will make it for next week?
Yeah, I have to see what's going on with both of them. With Marco, it was something early that he felt. I think it was more of a knock. He had an issue coming out of the last game, but he had trained for the last part of the week and felt like he was in a good spot. But he said probably 15 or 20 minutes in, he felt something, and I don't know if it was an actual hit or because last week it was more of a contusion type of scenario. Ricky, I don't know exactly what happened. It was right at the end of the game, and I know. Next thing I know, he was kind of walking off the field, and I don't know exactly what the situation is and what happened, so I'll have to find out when we go back in the room and probably be assessed over the next day or so and see where these guys are at.
Go ahead, Justin.
Hi, Coach. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Most of the focus has been on the Killer Peas this season, but Dejan Joveljic continues to have an incredible season, maybe the best of his career, and finally has that big moment tonight. What does that mean for you to see him have that moment, and just what has he brought to this team this year and in this game to provide that moment for you guys?
Yeah, I'm really happy for Dejan. He's, again, the first season he came in, he was coming off the bench and giving us the last 20, 30 minutes of games, and he was scoring a ton of goals when the game was opening up and the space was there. And then the question that he was answering was, couldn't he be a 90-minute guy and still score those kinds of goals? And you see that when you put the right players with the right striker and You see the intelligence of his movements off the ball when we can disorganize the opposition a little bit. He's very clever about his movements and his finishing, and he's a finisher. When you get him in the box and you can get him facing the goal a couple of times tonight, he was in the box, but he was facing the wrong direction, so he wasn't really able to get the shot off. And then I think one in the first half that Marco played across him just escaped. I think his run, he didn't quite get there. But again, when the group is able to move some defenders around and he's able to have some space to work, this is when he's deadly. And so I'm proud of him because he's been working really hard. We've been talking about a lot of different things with him to try to help him connect with those guys and get himself some chances. And he's a striker that scores goals, and I'm really proud of the work that he's put in and where he's at. He deserves the moment, and he's got one more week to try to continue to be the hero striker for us that I know he wants to be and that he believes he can be, and we believe he can be.
Hey, Coach. Rashawn Haylock, KTLA 5. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
What do you attribute where this team was a year ago to now being Western Conference champions?
There's, last year, if I'm going to end last year, I don't want to keep talking about last year too much, but last year was it was a perfect storm of a lot of challenges within this group. We managed through those without, I always say, we didn't sacrifice last year for where we could be at the beginning of this year. And we took it on the chin last year, but we held tight knowing that we were going to have 2 open DP slots. We needed to find the right guys to fit to what we were trying to do. We knew there was going to be a couple other spaces that we would have to fill. So as we got to this offseason and all through parts of last year was really talking about what do we really need this team to look like when we come out of the penalties from last year and all the challenges that we had. And a lot of people were doing some really good work here to identify the right types of players and the right options for us. And then I give a lot of credit to the guys that were here last year that when they came back from the first day of preseason, that the year prior was behind them and they were ready to attack this year. They were confident, they were fit, they were ready to go. And when we added the new pieces right off from game 1 against Miami, which is a wonderful game to start the season because it gets all of your attention because it's a big one. It's like an MLS Cup, almost the opening game of the year. The guys were focused and ready and proved on that day, I think, that they could be here if they continued to grow together as a group, that they could be in this moment playing for an MLS Cup. And they've done a lot of things right over the course of the year to make sure that they've given themselves this opportunity and this opportunity to play at home with our fans who also from day one of the start of this year were 100% behind this group and saw the changes and saw the group and saw the first game against Miami and also I think felt that there was something different that was going on inside of this group. And so I'm proud of these guys. Again, they've answered every challenge over the course of the year, and now we've got one more.
Go ahead, Katya.
Thanks. Hi, Greg. I'm going to go even further back.
Okay, there we go.
How are you? Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Talk about trusting the process since you became the head coach of this club and so many things that have happened since, ups and downs, but the whole idea was to be back on top, fighting for that opportunity to get more trophies. Just what has that journey meant for you and how has it been for you personally?
Well, that's a long story if I were to get into all of that. There's so many things from, when I joined the club, which was coming out of COVID, and we were trying to reconstruct the team coming out of COVID where you couldn't really go to too many places to watch games and it was hard to get anywhere. And we were trying to talk about how we're going to rebuild this team in the image of what we want to look like. And obviously it wasn't simple. It wasn't smooth. We had some guys who we thought we were going to have on the team who didn't come back to the team, and they were a big part of how we were going to build this team. And we were working through that. And so at the same time, rebuilding infrastructure in here to be able to support the team. A lot of things going on. I'm proud of all the work that everybody's done over the years to help rebuild this club. And when I say that, I mean from a sports science, from the scouting, from every aspect that you need. When I sat down with the opportunity to get this job, I said, in order to win a championship nowadays in MLS, you have to have every piece of the infrastructure that is necessary to support a really good team. You can't just have a good team and no infrastructure and win. Too many clubs are too good now and have too many things going right. for us to be in that position. We have to have all the bits and pieces that are underneath to support a really good team. And then it took us a couple of years to get all the pieces of that really good team. And certainly we've gotten there, and this group fits together nicely, and they complement each other. And when you have a good team, that's what should happen. You know, they should complement each other, especially in this league and the way we go about having to build teams. You want pieces that can really fit together, and you don't need any redundancies or things like that. And we have that with this group. And then it's about building spirit and all those kinds of things inside of, so that they trust each other, they believe each other, they believe in the process. And I think we have all of those things. So I'm really just proud of the group. The process to get here is never going to be easy, especially when you encounter the challenges that we encountered last year, which were completely unexpected. But like I said, we stayed to the vision, and everybody who was here has the same vision and is moving in that course, and we're all supporting each other and working together to achieve it. And good things can happen when you do that.
Okay. Hipólito Gamboa, Telemundo, Los Angeles. I hear coach. Besides to be the coach this time on the 10 MLS Cup for the Galaxy, what is different from what happened back in 1996 when you were a player, the Galaxy get to the first ever final?
Well, I hope the first thing is that we win it tomorrow or next week. That's the first thing I hope is different. I've played in 3 MLS Cups with the LA Galaxy, and I managed to lose all 3. And one of my personal goals coming back here was to try to rectify that situation so that I didn't have to live with that forever. So no pressure next week, but that's what I'm trying to do personally. But I mean, the league is so different now. But one of the things I will say about the team in 1996 and the team now is it's the camaraderie of the group. Like the guys in 1996, we were like a family on the field, and with the staff and everybody else, we were so close together as a group and just battled for each other and with each other, and we got there. And it was a hard road to get there. You know, this group is also very close. They have they're tight. Some of them were doing Thanksgiving together. The ones who didn't have family were all together, and this group has a really close bond. And I think that's one of the X factors in MLS. If you have a group that is close together and wants to fight for each other and work for each other and trust each other, then that's one of the things that can separate you sometimes from other teams. And this team has that, which was similar to that team back in 96.
We'll transition to Zoom now. Jeff Carlisle, go ahead.
Thank you. Greg, you touched a little bit on this earlier. But obviously, in the previous games, you guys were scoring a ton of goals, and you're always going to have a ton of confidence going into an MLS Cup final. But just the way you guys won this game tonight, how much more confidence does that give you, knowing that you can win in a variety of ways?
I think it's important for our group who, we haven't played a ton of playoff games together, and now you have the joys of getting early goals and in some ways extending leads and kind of running away in games, and that can build, like you said, a lot of attacking confidence. But tonight it wasn't so much. Tonight was a little bit about resiliency. It was about a patience. It was about, again, when things don't go perfect, how do you continue to control the game, protect your goal, keep yourself in there, and work for your moments when they do arise? And we need that. We knew we were gonna need that to get to this point. It wasn't gonna be, loads and loads of goals. It would have been nice, but it's just not normal. And we were playing the best defensive team in the league who just doesn't give up goals, right? They just don't make mistakes. And so, I think this group can take a lot from this, the collective work that was necessary. And again, the fact that we had to work till the very end of the game to get the goal that makes a difference, and we did it, can show, again, trust and patience, that you just got to stick to the process and see the game out all the way to the end, and good things can come.
Okay, thanks.
Another one, Jeff? You're good? Sophie, go ahead.
All set, thanks.
Go ahead, Sophie.
Congratulations on reaching MLS Cup final, Greg.
Thank you.
Sophie, you're muted.
We talked a fair bit this season about home field advantage and building a fortress. I think one of your biggest achievements is making this team unbeatable at home. The fans have been amazing. I just thought it would be nice to kind of hear what you have to say to them this evening, and just how incredible they've been, and your team's delivered playing at home all season.
Yeah, I think it's, as I said earlier, from, again, the opening day, and even before that, I think there was just a genuine excitement about the roster that was being put together, and but then also what this team showed on the first day. And that's been carried through by the fans all year. And I always believe that relationship is reciprocal. It's the fans are here to be entertained, to want to win games, to when they come to their stadium, they want to feel good about when they leave, about the product and about the results. And we've been able to give that to them, and they've been able to, in return, give us all the energy and the fight and all the things that they give to the guys on the field and to us to fight for the last minute, to fight for the badge, to fight for them. Again, that's when that synergy is working in the right way, and it has been all year. We achieve together, and I think that's the biggest thing this year is that with the fans and this team has been able to do great things at home, and now because of it, they've earned the opportunity together to play one more game, MLS Cup, and try to do the same one more time together. We look forward to it. The other thing I'll say is when the guys walk into the stadium for the game to start and it's full and the crowd is going before the whistle blows and right when they walk in, I can sense the energy and the passion before the whistle even blows just to get after it right from the start. And I don't know if one of the things in the past is I felt like we gave away early goals and little things, and now I just feel like this group is right from the whistle with the fans ready to go, and all 90 minutes matter. And we saw that tonight. Again, all 90 plus minutes mattered. So we're really appreciative, and we want to do it one more time, and we want to get the sixth one for them. And so we're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for your time, Greg.
All right. Thank you.